So I'm here today with a video about the 30-day reading challenge and what I've read so far for it. In these final closing days, I thought I'd do a catch-up of a lot of the books that I've read so far, so here goes. First up was Skin Deep by Laura Jarrett. Absolutely love this book. If you've been conscious about your self-image or your confidence, then this is a book for you. Basically, it revolves around the character Jenna, who, after a car crash, she's left to rebuild her life. Her best friend died, and she is scarred, and she meets this traveller, and he's a new age traveller. He's not like a gypsy traveller, which is made very clear in the book. He's a new age traveller, and I think that's because of his own self-confidence with his travelling. And this boy sort of brings out the best in her and her confidence and stuff like that, but it takes a while for the actual relationship to blossom, and I really fancy just sort of a really chick-flicky romantic read, and this is it. I think this is her debut novel, because she's got another one out that I'm going to go buy, because I absolutely fell in love with her writing style. Was amazing, and that was, I think I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. If not 4, it's definitely 5 on Goodreads. That was 376 pages. Another book I read when I was in London was Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters. The film's coming out for this, so I really want to read it soon. It's a good book. I like antiquities and ancient history, and this is a great way to read about the ancient gods and stuff, especially if you're not clear on what the ancient gods are like. Any film about ancient Greece, and I'm there, or ancient Rome. I love ancient Rome. In this one, Percy has to go and help recapture this golden fleece to help the camp, and yeah, it's just a really great little light-hearted read. I think you can tell, it says 9+ on the back, you can tell it's like more of a child's book, but as the series gets on, I suppose it progressively gets darker and a little bit older, but I really loved it, really light-hearted, really great read. I think I gave this 3 out of 5 stars, or 4, I can't remember. I'll leave the links down below. And that was 265 pages. So, another book I read last week whilst watching Wimbledon, because that's just a time to read while watching the tennis. It was The Infinite Wisdom of Harriet Rose by Diana Janney. Had this thing on myself for ages. I think I saw Miss Rosianna Hulse read it, and I bought it. I found it in a trade shop and brought it, and then never actually got around to reading it, because I'm like that with books. But this is amazing. Prodigy Philosopher Superstar, and basically this novel revolves around Harriet Rose, who writes these meditations and has a birthday present to her mother and grandmother get them published, and it's her sort of rise to superstardom after being found to be a philosopher, and sort of how she deals with this, deals with a boy in her life, and deals with the whole thing. And I think you can tell she's a 14-year-old girl. Essentially, you can tell how selfish she is at times, and I think it's a really, really good and interesting read. The meditations are really nice to read. But yeah, just a really cute book. I love the cover as well, the cover's cute. And that was 388 pages. Another book I finally got around to reading was Artemis Fowl by Erin Colfer. I went to an event of his a few months ago and really enjoyed it, really enjoyed his sense of humour. I didn't realise how funny he was until I went to the event. Loved Artemis Fowl. I'm currently reading a book of his, Wolf, which is from a different series. I'm not enjoying that as much as Artemis Fowl. Again, it's got sort of a fantasy element to it with fairies and trolls and stuff like that, so that's probably what I like about it. Bol is essentially a super evil genius, but this book series is about him becoming a better person, so I like that twist in it. I like that idea that we have our central character who's a bad guy. And then I read Neil Gaiman's Ocean at the End of the Lane. This came out like last week, and I had to have it. This was my second Neil Gaiman book I read. I read Stardust, and then I read this. And I have to say, I was really bowled over by how amazed I was by it. It's such a great read. It's so fun, and it's dark and scary, and it is in the adult section, and it is in the sci-fi section, and you can totally understand why. It basically centres around our main character, and he goes back to his childhood home and reminisces about the time he spent with this girl. And you soon realise that this girl is not a girl. She's something else. She's something from out of this world. And it's sort of about the adventure they have together. I don't want to spoil it too much, because it is an amazing story of magic and friendship. And yeah, really, really loved it. I really would recommend it. Neil Gaiman's writing style is fantastic. It just draws you in every possible moment, and it just kept me going through it. It was a great book, and that was 243 pages. Then I read Seraphina by Rachel Hartman. I read this at the start of my challenge, and it was really great. A high fantasy novel. I love Game of Thrones at the minute, so anything with dragons or anything like that, I'm in love with. This takes a different twist. Our main character, Seraphina, is the character that brings together the world of humans and dragons, and it's just really interesting. It's a really interesting take on dragons. They can take a human form and still be a dragon. Found that an amazing concept to have, because normally dragons are just, as they are, they're a creature, they're a dragon, but in this, there's so much more to it than that, and there's this whole concept of uniting dragons, and I think it's just got this post-war feel, but it also has a pre-war feel in the sense that, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of the period between World War I and World War II, when no one knows who to trust, and whether these guys are good guys or bad guys, and it's kind of like that, in the sense that it feels like it's building up to more. There's more books going to be released in the series, I think, so I can't wait for them, but the cover is amazing. Yeah, I'd love to have it out on my shelf like that, but the spine's beautiful too. I've also read this huge book, 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. It's huge. It's 800 pages long, and I chose the 30-day read to read it. So it took me 2 days because I got addicted to it. This is books 1 and 2 out of the series. There is also book 3 that I need to get. But yeah, it's an ode to George Orwell's 1984, and essentially takes place in Japan. And we have two main characters, Tengo and Anomami. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce them. And our two main characters, there was kind of overlap, but then you start noticing little things that shows that they've gone from being in the real world into this other world, and yeah, it's just really interesting, really fascinating to sort of see the clues and the clicks and the characters. I love Tengo's character a lot more. I don't know why, I just fell in love with his character. Probably because to me he was so much more average and everyday and ordinary, whereas she was anime, isn't like an assassin essentially. But there's this difference that she's a really strong-willed woman, so you get that comes across very strongly in the book. It's a great book to read, especially if you've read George Orwell's 1984 and you like dystopian literature. Bearing in mind it is huge and will take up some time, but I adored it, and I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So yeah, those are all the books I've read so far. There's quite a few, but I'm proud of them. I probably wouldn't have read them in this 30-day read if I hadn't set out to read a lot of them. Some of them I'd set on my shelf a lot longer than they probably should have. But my total so far is 2,716 pages. I'm currently reading Bill Bryson's Shakespeare and Walk by Owen Colfer, and I've got 100 pages left on each of those to read, so hopefully they'll be finished in the next couple of days, and then I might be able to fit in another book. I'll keep you guys updated. Let me know if you're taking part in the 30-day read and what books you've read. Have a nice day. Bye guys!